All right, folks at home, did you know something that I learned today? I was today years old, in my mid-30s, when I discovered that Jonathan from Hotel Transylvania is an allusion to Jonathan Harkness from Dracula, the original book. Did you guys know that?
Did not know that.
He's like the POV character in Dracula, right?
Well,
he's the guy we follow around
for a while, and then I'm pretty sure he goes mad. But yeah, no spoilers because people haven't read it like me. But yeah, I was watching Hotel Transylvania with my kids today in school because why not? It's Halloween and day stamped. Today is the day before Halloween, and the character's name was Jonathan, and I was like, wait a minute, I get it. And this, folks, is why background knowledge is so important. All right. Welcome to Overthinking Games, a podcast about what video games can teach us. My name is Katie, and I am joined by my lovely co-hosts.
Seth is dead. He died of tuberculosis.
Yeah.
My name is Dempsey.
I'm Brett, and I've never actually seen Hotel Transylvania, but I have read Dracula, so.
Okay. Hotel Transylvania is really good, yo. It is. It's cute. It's funny. It has an allusion to Dracula. I had no idea. This week, our topic is going to be, funnily enough, adaptations, and not the 2000-something Nicolas Cage movie either. I'm talking about video games that have been made into TV shows or movies, and maybe vice versa. And yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about, which it's good because Dempsey's here and he's our film guy. So that's really good. But before that, let us discuss what we've been playing this week. Brett, why don't you start us off?
Oh boy. I actually have a lot to talk about for games that I've played this week because I've started a really large number of games, which isn't very regular for me. But I'm only going to talk about so I restarted Death Stranding yesterday because I just wanted something chill that I can play on my PlayStation because I keep buying games for my PC and I don't want to be in my office anymore. I'm tired of being in my office where my computer is. So I'm like, I need something in the living room. So I started playing Death Stranding again. I played it a few years ago and I got to just after the first big boss fight. And then I put it down and trying to...
lion?
I don't remember what it was. I just remember doing a boss fight, and then that's all I remember. And then I had to deliver something, and I rage quit because I lost a bunch of stuff, and I got angry, and I never picked it up again. And I tried to start from that point, and I had no idea what was happening, and my baby was crying at me, and there was sludge everywhere, and I was really confused. And so I just started a new game, because I couldn't figure out what was happening. And I'm still confused, but at least I'm less confused, maybe. But it's a good game, a very good game. The second thing I've been playing is Mega Bonk, which is a game that came out pretty recently, and I've never played Vampire Survivors, but everyone keeps saying it's basically just Vampire Survivors, just reskinned and kind of like redone. So it's like, I guess Vampire Survivors with like PS2 graphics, like it is still very like, I guess like detuned in that sense, but you run around and you kill mobs to gain experience, and then when you level up, you get to pick new weapons or tomes. So like the tomes will be like, ooh, you get extra experience, or you do extra damage, or you do more crit damage, or whatever. There's like a ton of them. And then ton of weapons, ton of different characters to unlock. And I guess I was trying to think of what it is. It calls itself a roguelike, and I guess that's probably true. I'm really enjoying it. Although if I play for too long, it really hurts my eyes because it is very much just an epilepsy simulator at some point. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Vampire Survivors is the same way.
Yes.
It's just so much flashing and it really hurts me at a point. So, but yeah, Mega Bonk has been really fun. I didn't really think that I would enjoy this kind of game that much because it's not the game I usually play, but I've been really, really enjoying it. I would 10 out of 10 recommend it. It's like $10. And it's like infinite enjoyment.
Nice. And is that on your PlayStation or on your phone or?
I've got it on the PC. Although it would be like an amazing, honestly, if I had a Steam Deck, I'd be playing it on Steam Deck. It's like, it would be the perfect like on the go game, I think, because rounds are like 10 minutes ish or less if you're good at the game. I'm not. And yeah, it's a very good game that like, it's easy to like pick up and put down at a moment's notice. And I really like that. So it's a very good, just like if I'm kind of not doing anything at work and I just need to take a break, then it's a good break. I really like it.
Nice. You could, if I can make a suggestion, Vampire Survivors is on the phone, and it's actually, I think, personally better on the phone than on like a Steam Deck or something. So that would be a great game to play on the couch with your wife when you don't want to be in your office.
Noted. I didn't really have Vampire Survivors on my radar until I played this game, and everyone's like, oh, it's just a like newer kind of different Vampire Survivors. I was like, oh, I didn't know that's what that game was, so maybe I should check it out if I really like this. So,
wait, you haven't played Vampire Survivors?
No, not at all. I've heard about it from like everywhere.
Play Vampire Survivors.
Yeah, I probably should. So maybe I'll just get that on my phone. I don't really like phone games.
So good.
Though. I'm not a phone game
I don't
person.
really like phone games either, but it's actually perfect on that. Like, it's actually the perfect device for that. And I played it. I got really into it, and I played it the whole way home from Ireland once. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to play for a little bit, and then I'm going to play on my Steam Deck. And, 14 hours later.
The third and final thing that I'll talk about playing this week is I've been still playing Battlefield 6, which I still say it's a good game, even though the internet has turned on it entirely. And I think that the commentary as to why the game, why Reddit has turned on Battlefield is insane. And I don't agree with it. And I think that people are way too entitled. Like, they release, because their whole thing is like, oh, we're going to keep like the skins grounded. We're going to keep it like milsim, whatever. But then they release like a few mastery skins that have like a couple neon colors. Like, one of them has a couple neon green stripes on it. One of the guy has like a blue bandana on his face. And the other guy has like an orange rag on his side or something. And it's like, they're bright colors, but I don't think it's like that bad. But people are like, I've never seen this in the military. I'm like, you're 13 years old and you've never seen the military. Why are you complaining about this? Like, what? But people have been so loud about that, and it's kind of turned me off of playing the game, even though I think it's a good game and I still want to play it. It's like, but every time I look at it now, I just remember people just screaming about things that I really don't think matter. But, I don't know.
This is why I never go online.
Yeah, I should get off Reddit.
Say.
Reddit sucks.
Yeah.
Dempsey, what have you been playing? Or Katie, whoever wants to go first.
So, go, Katie.
Oh, real quick before I go, I just wanted to touch back on Death Stranding. Brett, were you on the show when Dempsey and I were both playing Death Stranding at the same time?
No.
No, he was not.
No.
That was before my time.
Dempsey and I went through a Death Stranding phase kind of parallel, and we both had the exact same experience, I think, that you explained of your previous playthrough. Dempsey made it way farther than I did. I got to just past the first part where you take the boat across, and then I ran into this big lion, and that was cool and all, but then I was just pissed off because I couldn't literally go anywhere without running into BTs, and it didn't seem to matter what I did. The muck was everywhere, and I just want to ride my motorcycle.
I just want to do the walking simulator.
Yes, I just want to deliver stuff, which is why I'm probably going to play Easy Delivery Company, because that seems like what I'm looking for. But sorry, go ahead, Dempsey.
Okay. So it is the day before Halloween, like Katie said. I've also had a very complicated couple of weeks, so I've not been played as much as I want to. However, I did finish Crow Country, which is like a 3-hour game. It's really beautiful. It's, I think, really poorly plotted. I think the writing for a lot of it is beautiful. I think like the plot is really dumb, and you get to the end of the game and it's like the worst lore dump I've ever experienced in video games, and kind of just erases all like the mystique and the charm from the rest of the game. And so it was really disappointing to get to the conclusion and have that experience. But like, I definitely am happy I played it. It's a really beautiful game. For those who don't know, Crow Country is a PS1 style survival horror game set in a crow-themed amusement park. And I think it really understands the connection between like design and horror really well. It's a very safe, cozy, I would say like it's like a safe, cozy survival horror game is kind of how I would explain it. in the fact that like whenever you're low on stuff just kind of appears. And so you're always kind of at the same level of items and resources. So like the resource management kind of matters. Like for like one encounter, it'll matter. But like as soon as you get done with that one encounter, you can go and restock really, really easily. You're never like walking around the park low on anything. You can literally go back to your car and refill your gun whenever you want, which I think is so nice. And so, yeah, it's like, it's very cute and cozy, and the ending is really convoluted, and I'm just really disappointed. Maybe with my own expectations, maybe with the game, who knows? And then I guess a little behind the scenes for the listeners, but we've been working on something very special for an upcoming episode. Not like it's upcoming and a long ways away, but there might need to be a change to that episode because Power Wash Simulator 2 has come out.
Oh, yeah.
And Power Wash Simulator 2 is superior to the first Power Wash Simulator. It's basically the same thing, except a little bit more customizable options, a little bit better controller, and like kind of like UI layout. You have like a little, like there's just a little bit more world to it. And it's an independent game now. So I think the first one was published by Square Enix, and this one is self-published by Future Labs. And so, which I think can kind of, I wonder if it's going to not be as good because being published by Square Enix means they got access to a lot of branded DLC. So like Final Fantasy DLC, SpongeBob DLC, there's a lot of great DLC with that game that I thought was actually worth paying for. But I don't know, because they're independent now, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that again, which makes me very sad. But the designs are so good and interesting of like the locations and a little bit of problems. And they seem to be a lot better on like hooking ideas and kind of stretching those ideas, which is ridiculous to say in a Power Wash game. It's still very chill. There's a couple things that they fixed, like you can turn on or off setting to show you where your last piece of messes or of dirt is. And so like it's a little arrow that'll kind of point you to your last, if you're like looking for it and things like that, which has been very nice. And you have a cat this time around.
Oh, that's better.
The trailer pointed at some like cosmic supernatural mystery as well.
It's just power washing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So
it's eldritch horror.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of so the trailer had like the people in the power wash suits looking out at some like cosmic horror lights in the distance. And so I don't know, I'm excited to go through. I play it as I'm watching a lot of Halloween episodes. And so I've a Treehouse of Horror, a lot of cartoons. SpongeBob has some great ones. I got a Steam Deck OLED.
Oh.
So I had a Steam Deck and I got the OLED. I gave the old Steam Deck away to someone I care a lot about. And so now I have an OLED, and the OLED the screen is like night and day. Like I think it's, if you like the Steam Deck, I think it's worth upgrading because the screen is just so much better. I have a lot of emulators working and spent a lot of time setting up and acquiring my emulation software. EmuDeck makes it really, really seamless on Steam Deck, which has been really nice. I've been playing a lot of Mario Kart. And if you go through EmuDeck, it's actually a lot more difficult to play with settings. So you kind of just have to accept a console-like experience, or else it gets tedious. It's like if you set up EmuDeck pre-configures everything, but it does it really well, and I haven't felt the need to change any of the settings. So like I think EmuDeck for me is the way to go. It gives you a very console-like experience from your emulators, and so that's been great. And you can launch them just from Steam, so which has been fantastic. And then something that has been the biggest justification for the Steam Deck for me now, because I've had a Steam Deck, but I didn't used to use this because I care about image quality and I don't want to play PlayStation 5 games on my Steam Deck that's not an OLED. But now that my Steam Deck is OLED, I connected my Steam Deck Remote Play to my PlayStation, and the Steam Deck has an option where you just launch it like a game. You just launch your PS5 like a game. So, and that has been so good because obviously like the Steam Deck can't play AAA games, but now my PlayStation runs, whatever AAA game and then just streams it at 60 frames a second to my Steam Deck.
That's pretty sick.
And then it's on an OLED monitor.
That's amazing.
And so like and also your Steam Deck will basically last like 6 hours because it's not actually running the game.
It's just streaming.
It's just
amazing.
Just streaming. So it's a little streaming thing. And so you get like such good battery life when you do it that way too. And so I've been going back to buying indie games, like buying indie 2D games that I would normally play on my Steam Deck. I've been going back to like playing them off of my PlayStation. And like Power Wash Simulator, for example, your Steam Deck can run Power Wash Simulator, but it looks better on my PS5. And so I can stream it from my PS5 to my Steam Deck, and it looks incredible. Like it looks, like your Steam Deck's a PS5. And so that has been fantastic.
So you could play Baldur's Gate from your PlayStation 5 and stream it onto your Steam Deck and it would look good.
Yes, 100% with full controller support,
Okay.
which like natural controller support.
Behind the scenes, you're going to have to explain to me how you do that because I am like the worst at tech, despite this being my main hobby.
It's great because then you can run Baldur's Gate and it also wouldn't tax your Steam Deck battery because it's not actually running Baldur's Gate.
Right.
It's just running
instead of like lasting 3 hours uncharged.
Yeah. And so anyways, so that has been such a fantastic experience with my OLED. I have my entire PlayStation library wherever I want it, as long as you have Wi-Fi, of course. And then a bunch of emulators going on it. And I've just really fallen back in love with my Steam Deck. I think there's something really special when like you have access to these things and like things come along to give you a reason to interact with them more. And it kind of builds up a new appreciation. Like last time I had Dolphin, but I didn't have Emu Deck. And so like PS1 games and things like that, I was like, I don't, but now I have like, now I can go boot up Silent Hill or whatever. And through Emu Deck, it's all just natural. Also, there's a bunch of things like, you can have, achievements for old games. There's like, through the modifications you can make for your Steam Deck, you can put like the playtime on there and really make it very, very console-like, which is something that I have been, it's very funny to buy, what is this, like, supposed to be a gaming PC and try to make it as least like a gaming PC as possible. I don't want any of that. I just want a console. And so it's been great. So anyways, that's me talking about the Steam Deck. It's also kind of fun because in a way, it kind of future-proofs your Steam Deck if you can get it to stream. Mm-hmm. So, like, because indie games are always, like, 2D indie games are always going to run well on the Steam Deck. Like, there's no, like the next Team Cherry game that comes out in 7 years, it's going to run fine on the Steam Deck. Silksong ran at 50 frames, or 60 frames on the Switch, on the original Switch. And so, like, for an indie machine, your Steam Deck's always going to be fine. And then for AAA, as long as it can stream from a more powerful machine, it can also just play AAA games.
I had no idea it could do that. That's amazing.
Yeah. And so it's helping me future-proof my Steam Deck, which I'm very excited about. Anyways, okay, Katie, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of things lately, actually. I've not been playing much Warzone because the other two guys on our team have been busy with life stuff, and my mom and I don't want to play with the sweats by ourselves. So we've been taking a little hiatus, and in that space, I have discovered Dredge, which is super fun.
Such a good game.
It is a eldritch horror fishing game, and I'm not very far into it yet, but I really like it. It's not an annoying fishing game. Like, I find Stardew Valley's fishing to be really annoying, and I don't really like it. And the fishing in Dredge is not annoying, and it has a pretty easy learning curve so far. I'm sure it'll get more challenging as I go, but at the beginning, I'm like, I'm really good at fishing. What can I say? And I'm enjoying like exploring and finding little mysteries and things like that. I also played Strange Horticulture, which I might have mentioned before, but I finally beat it. And that was super cute. Have either of you played that?
Nope.
Okay, so it's set like in an alternate kind of world, back in time-ish. You're the unexpected inheritor of a shop called Strange Horticulture in this little village. And as you're trying to learn about the plants, you're given you've inherited the book that your like uncle kept that has a bunch of entries with descriptions of the plants, sometimes pictures of the leaves or pictures of the flowers, and then a little description. And then as you go, you've got this whole library basically of plants, and you have to try to identify them all. And then meanwhile, there's like a visual novel style story happening, and your customers come and they say, "Oh, I need something that will help me sleep." And then you're like, "Let me go check my book. I'm sure I have something." And you find the one that says that it helps them sleep, and then you have to find the plant that matches the entry. It's like my level of nerd puzzle. I really enjoyed it. And it had kind of an interesting storyline to it. I didn't really care that much about the storyline, but the puzzle was fun. So I finished that. Because I have a mission, you guys. I've read 25 books this year, and I want to try to finish 10 games. That's my mission. I want to finish 10 games, kind of not by this time next year. I think I'll finish more than that, but in like the next 6 months, I'd like to try to kind of get through some of my backlog. So finish Strange Horticulture. Now I'm playing Dredge. And then, because my backlog's never big enough, I bought another game that just came out, and I'm super stoked about it. It's by a Irish-based developer called Spooky Doorway, and it's called The Seance at Blake Manor. And it's set in 1879, so after the potato famine, before independence, in the very far west of Ireland, in this manor that was basically inherited by, I'm pretty sure it's an English guy, who basically stole the land, obviously, from the Irish way back when. And you go to this manor as a detective who's been invited from Dublin, because a young woman has gone missing. And you enter this manor, and the art is very comic book style, like the tick-tock of the clock actually says tick-tock, like as the clock pendulum swings, which is cool. And the mechanics of it is that as you're exploring, everything costs 1 minute, and you have to solve the mysteries by a certain amount of time. So when you first get to the manor, you have 1 hour to form a hypothesis of whether the lady is missing or has just left the hotel. And everything you look at costs 1 minute of time, and there's so much to look at. So you have to really be judicious in what you decide to explore. And so my husband and I are playing that together, and it's absolutely perfect for couch co-op because you can take, nothing costs time until you choose to interact with it. So we were able to like discuss, where do you think we should look to find, this clue that we need to find, and, kind of come up with like a strategy together and that sort of thing. And then add to that, weird shit is happening. So you go and look at something, and all of a sudden you hear a noise, and it actually controls your camera to turn you around really quickly. And you see like a phantasmal skeleton for just a second. And he and I were both like, "Oh my God, did you see that?" So it was really fun. We were like, okay, we'll play for an hour, just check it out and see. And like 2.5 hours later, we're like, "Oh, it's a school night. We have to go to bed." And I think sometimes those kinds of mystery games don't always propel you forward in that way. But this one, we were like, okay, we're going to stop now. Okay, but let's just see what happens next. And we just kept getting that propelled forward and forward, without it feeling like it was just a walking simulator where it was going to happen regardless. We still felt like super actively engaged. And then once you've collected enough clues, it tells you, because we're still in the tutorial a little bit, it's like you have enough information to form a hypothesis. So then you go into your inventory, and you have this network of facts and connections, and you have to fill in a sentence frame with keywords from your facts and connections to make a hypothesis that makes sense. And so I love that because I think it's so much fun. That's really similar to the way that Tangle Tower does it, but more complex. So I can't wait to play that again. I was like, maybe I could just do that instead of going to work. And then I was like, no, I have to be an adult. Fine.
Adulting.
But yeah, I can't wait to play it again this weekend. I know. Yeah. I can't wait to play it again. I'm so excited. And it's really cool because it is an actual Irish developer. So it's set in Ireland. It's playing off of Irish folklore. And for those of the listeners who don't know, my husband is from Ireland. So it makes it a very special connection to have that. And it doesn't shy away from kind of the facts of the matter of that England was like a really terrible oppressor and that they did a lot of really bad shit that they would like to pretend they didn't do. No offense to any English listeners. It's not you, it's your government. But yeah, so that's been really interesting from that perspective as well. Okay. Sorry, I get all excited and I start rambling on. So our topic, now that we're half an hour in as per usual, is games and their adaptations. So this is actually, I have to give my husband credit for this. This was his idea. He's like, have you guys ever talked about games that have been made into TV shows or movies? And I was like, I mean, in passing here and there, but never as an actual episode. So that's the topic this week. And I wanted to start out with, do you think, what are you doing, Dempsey?
What?
You keep distracting me with whatever the hell you're doing.
Sorry. I'm fidgeting.
Okay, it's fine. It just looks like you are definitely trying to like nail clipper your nose or something. God. Okay. So my question for you is there a video game adaptation into a TV show or a movie that you particularly liked or disliked, or that you feel like, yeah, that's basically, yeah. Is there one that you particularly liked or disliked that was a game that's been made into something else?
I have an answer for both.
Okay.
So the one that I've liked the most so far. So I have two that I've liked really like a lot so far. The first one's Fallout. It has yet to disappoint me, but that's also one season in. They have plenty of time to disappoint me. And that's kind of the second one was going to be The Last of Us, where I really loved season 1. And I feel like season 2 kind of dropped the ball a little bit. I felt like it was still fine. Like, I don't have any really major issues with it, aside from pacing here and there. And I think you guys have talked about this, but they really changed Ellie and her dynamic in the game, or in relation to the game. And I don't really like that they're trying to get you to empathize with Ellie, because that's not the point of the game. And that's why I didn't. So I guess spoilers for, minor spoilers, I guess, for The Last of Us. But I really, really did love the first season of that show. And I think it was really, really well done. Even though I was honestly skeptical about Pedro Pascal as Joel for the most part. I was just like, I don't know. Like, I've seen him in a few things and he's just too like cuddly. He's just too like a nice, happy dude. And I'm like, I can't imagine him as this gruff country, you killed my daughter kind of person. And so I was really worried, but he was great. I really do like him as Joel. But Fallout is one of those ones that they didn't really try to follow the game. So I don't know if I'd call it like, it's not a direct adaptation. It's its own story within the universe, which I think is the way that adaptations should go. And that's why I think it works so well, because as long as they play with a few established lore points, it's really hard for them to go wrong. Like, it's really hard for them to screw it up. We'll see if they end up doing it. The one I think my least favorite. Oh, geez. I mean, my least favorite adaptation is always going to be. So, did you guys ever read the Aragon books, the Inheritance Saga? So the books were great, at least when I was a child. I haven't read them in a long time, but they were written by like a 14-year-old. I vibed with that. And then the book was amazing. The movie was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life, and the game was worse. There was a game for the original Xbox.
Made a game?
For the original Xbox. It is horrendous. It is, if you've seen the movie and haven't played the game, the movie's bad enough. The movie was so bad that they couldn't make a second one because of how they decided to change things. They fundamentally changed the story to the point where you could not do the second one.
I remember.
The game was, I don't know how to describe it. It was, they tried to make it into like a beat 'em up RPG. Kind of like, I don't know how to describe the kind of game style. Like there was a Lord of the Rings game from around the same time that had a very similar style, and it feels like they saw that game and was just like, ooh, we can do that. But it was just so bad. But that was book to movie to game, so I guess that's kind of the opposite direction of those.
That's okay. Yeah.
But yeah, those are mine. I love Fallout, mostly love The Last of Us. Aragon still deserves so much better.
Yeah. You did dirty with that movie. It was so bad. How about you, Dempsey?
So yeah, I would say, like Brett, they're like the most opinions I have are about Fallout and The Last of Us. I think The Last of Us, like I've said my opinions many times, but I think it's really bad. And I think Fallout is unbelievably good. I know like Arcane has really good reviews, which I have not watched. Edge Runners is supposed to be really good, which I have not watched, which is from Cyberpunk. Like if I think about like, I think kids like Detective Pikachu, Sonic, Mario, those have most recently Minecraft have all had some adaptations. And like as far as, I don't know, I guess the idea of a bad adaptation in video games is just so common, it really doesn't affect my view on things. I don't know. Maybe it's also because I started gaming as an adult, and so like the franchises that I really love, I think The Last of Us is like the only franchise I like truly properly love that has an adaptation. Fallout, I think the TV show is incredible, but I'm not like a Bethesda guy. Like I've played a little bit of New Vegas for like maybe like under 30 hours of New Vegas, but like I didn't like, I'm not like, I wasn't going to be heartbroken, but like The Last of Us I think is the only one where I do consider myself like really invested in the story of The Last of Us, and also I think the TV show fundamentally misunderstands what makes that story work. And I think Craig Mason is a cancer.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I also think Chernobyl was bad. So I think, but however, this is what I will say about adaptations. I don't think it matters. I don't think adaptations matter, as in like, I don't think the source material is any indication of whether something's going to be good or not.
Agreed.
Like, I think that once you start making production decisions, there's so many production decisions that like the kernel of an idea could be anything, whether it's original, whether it's IP, whether it's franchise, whether it's established franchise. Like that's like the first 0.5% in like the production of this thing. And then like once you start producing, all of the other more complicated, more relevant decisions are going to be made after that. And so like I think anything could be good or bad. Like I don't know, like if they want to remake like Resident Evil movies, I've seen a couple of like the old Resident Evil movies and they're all like bad, but like there's no reason that they couldn't take that same idea and setting and then make really good ones. Like there's no, so I just think that it's so separate. Like what the idea of like what makes a good adaptation, I think it's really, really arbitrary. I think it's like I don't think it has to be about the same things. I don't think it has to be exploring the same themes. I don't think it even has to have the same storyline. I think like it's so unbelievably arbitrary. It just becomes, is it a good movie or TV show just on its own at that point? Because I think like, yeah, I just think it's so, the mediums are so different. And like, by the time you're like filmmaking, that's just such a different workflow and pipeline than video games anyways. Like it's just not comparable, which I think is what makes The Last of Us so disappointing to me, is that they tried to make it really comparable. And like, that's a story that can only be told if you are the one being violent. Like, I think the reason that I don't like Joel is because you don't have the same empathy you have for Joel, because in the game you are the one dealing with his frustration and fear and effort, and in the TV show it's a passive experience. And so, but however, I will say that my favorite elements of the TV show are the things original to the TV show. So I really like the Frank and the third episode with the gay guys, their love story, feeding each other strawberries and things like that. I think that was the strongest episode of season 1.
I agree.
And then for season 2, I think they really didn't introduce much. Like, I think like the siege on Jackson was cool and interesting, with the zombies like early on, and then that was original to TV. So I just think that like, I don't know, like if I think about like the Mario movie, like there's nothing like, there's no reason that could have just been like an original adventure story. So like maybe it's like what you bring to the piece of art, and like if your expectations are being fulfilled is like what makes it good or bad, or if it's a good thing to be. I have no idea. I just don't think that it has anything to do with what you're adapting to, like if it's a good decision to adapt it or not. I just think it's so like it's such a small piece of the equation.
I feel like I'm hearing you say the opposite though when you talk about The Last of Us.
Yeah, it's because okay. But here's my thing though. I think it's because they tried to remake the story, which it's not a story that was made to be made in video games. It's a story that like you have to interact with in order for it to be meaningful. And it was already so cinematic.
So then it does matter what source material you choose.
No, because I think also if you tried to copy the exact plot of a Mario game, it's also going to be bad. I think if you copy the exact plot of exactly, hey, and so you
say that
create
to my
a bunch
Super
of stuff
Mario Galaxy.
and so you create a bunch of stuff for the medium that it's in. I think like Baldur's Gate 3, if you made like a TV show of Baldur's Gate 3 and you just redid the story from the video game, I think it would suck. I think you would need to make things that were specific for the medium of television, and whether that's good or not, I think depends on like the quality of that independent from the game. But I think the reason I hark on this Last of Us point is because they just remade a worse version of the same exact story in a medium that's not conducive to telling that story. Like we are never going to empathize, spoilers, we are never going to empathize with Abby the way that the TV show wants us to. Like that's not going to happen. And we're never going to justify Ellie. Like Ellie, when you are actively looking after her, she becomes someone that can do anything, and she's your daughter, so it doesn't matter anyways. But like in the TV show, she's not. It's like she's a person that you don't have that same attachment to. And so they have to make her a lot more palatable so you're on her side for a lot longer, which totally misunderstands the point of the entire video game. Is that
was my point with it too, where it's just
like actually
you can't justify her actions because the entire point is revenge is bad. If you go too far, like there's no point and there's like no redemption. It's like you're just like
100,
but you can't just have an irredeemable.
You ever loved.
You can't just have an irredeemable main character unless it's something like Breaking Bad. But like even then, it's like there's you can empathize with Walter, but you shouldn't. Like
I think like the reason why Ellie, regardless of how horrible she does, I think is about the effort that you spend both protecting her and then being her. And so that gives her a lot more emotional leash to be a lot more violent, and it's still conflicted. Whereas if a TV show, she just becomes unlikable and people don't like her. So like, I just think that the problem with The Last of Us is that they try to tell the same exact story. Okay. And I don't think like Edge Runners would be bad if it tried to tell the Cyberpunk 2077 story or 2049. What is it? Which one's Cyberpunk and which one's Blade Runner?
2077, I think.
Okay, yeah. Like if Edge Runners just told that same story again, that's stupid. And like you wouldn't have the same like it's not he's not talking to you. You're not the one having to go on these heists, and like you're not the one affected by the decisions of the corpos and things like that. Like the Edge Runners TV show, from what I know about it, like it's good because it focuses on other characters interacting with the world in a different way. And I do think that's a commonality on like I think what makes an adaptation good is that you can't just adapt the same story. I think that's dumb. I think if you're going to make a video game adaptation, specifically with a video game adaptation, you want to be in the world but not be the same story. I think Fallout does such a good job. Yep. Yeah, I think Fallout does such a good job because those characters are made from the ground up to be interesting in television. Like the way their character design, their flaws, their backstory, all of those things from the ground up are made to be good on screen. And if you were to play that, I think it would not be as good. I don't think their stories would be good to play. So yeah, I just think that like the idea of just The Last of Us is so dumb because it's already a movie. It's already so cinematic. It's the same tools that anyways, I digress.
Okay. No, that makes sense. That does make sense. So the source material matters depending on what you're going to do with it. If you're not going to transform it at all, then it's likely going to be a worse product than the video game version.
Yeah, but I don't think the source material changes that equation. I think anytime you would adapt directly from a video game, it's going to be a wrong move. Like, that's why I'm saying that the source material doesn't matter. Because no matter how good The Last of Us was, and I think it is one of the best games told in video games, if you just make a direct adaptation, it's going to be bad. And it's the same thing with Mario. It's the same thing with Pac-Man or What Remains of Edith Finch or whatever, or, It Takes Two or whatever. Like, you have to build a story from the ground up that makes, and so like that part of the equation, like, it's not like they picked the wrong story to adapt directly. It's just you shouldn't be adapting things directly. So like the fact that you can swap out the variable, and I think it would be the same equation.
Okay.
You have to start from the ground up.
So that makes me think of I haven't played it, but the Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Oh yeah, it's great.
It's a great game.
It's not a direct adaptation of the films either.
No.
It's because it's not like the Chris Pratt isn't Star-Lord in that.
Nope.
And so it's just using that world and those characters.
Yeah, and the story that it tells, it's much more interactive. It's much more based on your decisions. It's a little bit shallower. There's places where you can spend, like, it's paced like a video game, not like a movie. The way the plot builds is based like a video game, not like a movie. The expectations that you have of yourself as a player character and your crew that you can call into combat and things like that supports the mechanics. And so, like, I think that's a great example of kind of understanding what makes the Guardians fun, like, broadly, but not sticking to like a specific version of them when you translate it. Like, it's a new story set in the same world. And I think it's really fun. So I love that game. I think that game's great.
I wonder if a lot of the issue, because this is something I was just thinking about, is a lot of the examples of video games that have been made into movies or TV shows, a lot of them are games where there's a lot of choice involved, or there's a lot of like user agency that only exists within games. You kind of touched on that a little bit, but like they're two completely different experiences. A video game is an interactive experience, and a movie is a passive experience, or a TV show is a passive experience. So what is it about these adaptations that they're hoping to gain from taking out the interactive experience and turning it into a passive one, when the story was only ever really meant to be told as an interactive experience? And how much of that do we lose going to a movie or TV show? And so I worry about like God of War, because they're making a God of War movie or 100%. Show. And I really hope that they don't just try to adapt, the newer God of War. Or I hope they tell the story in between. Like, I want them to show, you guys have both played the new God of War. This isn't spoiling anything. I want them to show before the reboot. What was that, 2018? God of War 2018? So I want them to show before that, like when he has his wife and child and like them, like I want them to tell that story that hasn't been seen. Because like, if you just adapt God of War 2018, that's a very interactive experience. There's so much in the game that's outside of the scope of a movie or television show, like all the side stuff that you have to do that makes you fall in love with the game. And if you take all of that out, I think it's just a bullshit, boring experience. So I
think that's...
And I also think... Sorry, Katie, go.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that that's a danger for any of the games that are on the more cinematic side. Like, God of War is extremely cinematic already. Whereas, like, I really enjoyed the Tomb Raider movie when it came out because at that stage of my life, I loved everything Tomb Raider. I really enjoyed the Tomb Raider reboots. So when they made a Tomb Raider movie and there was jujitsu and I was doing jujitsu, I was like, oh my God, it's so cool. Lara Croft is my, like, the person I want to be when I grow up. But it was a little bit, like, Tomb Raider is a bit cinematic, but they changed the story. They didn't just do the game. Like you guys are saying, they didn't just do the game again in movie form. It was a different Lara Croft adventure.
Yeah, and so I think it's like with I'm gonna go back to Last of Us because I've never played a Lara Croft game. I've never played Tomb Raider.
Oh,
game.
they're so much fun.
Oh, yeah, I've also not played Uncharted. I don't know, those kind of like archaeological adventure games. I don't know, but so this is what I'll say about God of War, about the idea of adapting God of War. I will have the same exact problem because in the video game, Kratos is like a violent psychopath.
Yeah.
That like the first, he doesn't know how to deal with Atreus seeing in the first game. Atreus kills a non-monster for the first time when they're trying to make it up the mountain to spread the ashes very early on in the game, and Kratos doesn't know how to handle his son seeing someone die for the first time, and handles it very poorly. But he's trying, but he's just a very violent person himself. And so he has this like idea of protection, but also idea that the world is actually a very violent place. And I think in a video game, because you are the one doing the violence, you have a lot more patience and empathy for how violent Kratos is. But if you're watching passively, because you lose that empathetic connection, I think they're going to have to sanitize him and make him more likable, or make him like more emotionally aware from the get-go, which I think ruins the whole point of the game, which is this is someone who has to kind of build, going on his son, build camaraderie, seeing his son has agency. Like, I think you're just going to have to soften a lot of those edges.
So Kratos shouldn't be the main character. Yeah. It should be someone else, and then Kratos is a side character in the universe.
There should be the kid then, shouldn't it?
I think it should be his wife. I think Freya, I think doing like a very soft, like understanding what Freya, or what's her name?
Not Freya, Frigga.
Freya's Frigga.
Yeah,
Frigg, something like that. But like her, because she, first of all, okay, so here's my pitch. I have nothing intelligent to say about this. I'm just gonna give you a pitch. So it should be, because she was a warrior. And so it should be her, and we have her weapon or whatever, her axe or whatever that she used or whatever. There's like a big plot point of like Kratos realizing that other people had a relationship with his wife, which I think is a very poignant part of that, is him losing his wife, feeling like he knew everything about her, and then kind of rediscovering her through her interactions with other people, which is unbelievably beautiful. Like, I love that so much. I love him rediscovering his spouse that he lost in a way that's meaningful to him.
They didn't fridge her? That's amazing.
Well, and so like that story first before he gets there, and then having like his introduction come and seeing why they are connected, what they see in each other, that could be a beautiful, wonderful TV series where he can be gruff, and because she's your point of view character, it's her burden of empathy, not his. And so if she finds him empathetic, then we will find him empathetic through her. And everything about her is that she's like a really reasonable, rational person.
That's a great idea.
And so I think she would be a person that would be a lot easier for an audience to sympathize with. And so, yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think I think Kratos would not be an interesting main character for a TV show, because we'd have to take everything that makes him interesting away from him. And then in the second game as well, like in the second game, when he is like cleaner and trying his best, I still think he gets to make worse decisions and fail more than he would in a TV show. When him and Atreus are like, he's not like, he lets Atreus go. They have this big fight. Atreus is like lying to him, for example. I don't know, all of that stuff I feel like works best in the interactive medium, and they would have to sanitize it. And like Brett brought up a really good point of side content, how important side content is. And like in the God of War games, they had this really fun mechanic of the guy on the belt or whatever, how he would just like kind of monologue at you. I forget his name. Mimir.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. Anyways, he would just kind of give you lore and story exposition as you were doing side quest. And that just like really settled you into things a lot more and made you feel a lot more connected with the environment. Whereas in a TV show, you don't have that kind of time. And so you have to be a lot more efficient and visual than I think you have to in a video game. So yeah, those are all the reasons I think God of War, I'm extremely scared of that adaptation coming. It's one of my favorite. Yeah, it's one of my favorite video game series. And I'm really scared. Do you think Katie, like, because you work with middle school kids.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think middle school kids care about like a Mario or a Pokemon or a Minecraft movie? Like, is it like a part of their cultural zeitgeist?
Oh, God, you guys, they don't care about anything. That's the problem. I asked the kid what kind of movies he liked because he's like, I hate books. And I was like, well, what kind of movies or TV shows do you watch? And he said, I watch TikTok. And I was like, yeah.
That's so
I know.
depressing.
Okay. Yeah, like they have no exposure to narrative. And so that's why I think things like Mario and Sonic and Minecraft are easy fodder for adaptations because it doesn't have to mean anything. And they will watch it. And they will sing the catchy songs and then they will go back to TikTok.
I also think that those are such like perfect, like as much as I don't know, I haven't seen the Minecraft movie. I haven't seen the Sonic movies, unfortunately. I keep getting told I should. But like from what I understand of them and then the Mario movie, they're such good settings because you don't have to make the game into a movie. You're just kind of making a movie in the setting. And so I think they are like the perfect setting just to like grab people in because the theme of this episode is apparently you shouldn't just adapt games. I think that they're like perfect, especially Minecraft, because there's not really a story to Minecraft as much as Seth might tell us otherwise. I don't think it's true. And so it's perfect because you can literally just be like, oh, here's an axe, a tree, and a creeper, and boom, it's a movie. And you can just do whatever you want with it. And like same with Sonic and Mario. None of the games really have that much story. So like you can do whatever you want with them and they're perfect. And they're just like well-known, lovable characters that are easy to adapt.
So I do think, and I have not seen the Minecraft movie, but I have seen the Lego movie. And the Lego movie, I think there is something really impressive when you can at least take what is thematically salient about a property and fit that in somehow. So like Sonic, for example, should feel, because it's very sensorial, like playing a Sonic game, it should feel fast. He should feel like quick and like, you know, you should feel that speed. And like speed as a theme is kind of weak, but it's a video game, so it's sensory oriented anyways. And so like, because in the Lego movie, it was like this idea of like imagination and following a plan and how those two things interact with each other, which is kind of the two ways like really important to talk about in a Lego setting. So I don't know. I think that like there are ways to, I don't know, keep some theme. And like Mario, I think Mario should feel kind of boring and classic because I think the games are kind of boring and classic. And so the fact that the Mario movie was like very paint by numbers felt kind of appropriate for something based off of the Mario games, because I think the Mario games are also like kind of your prototypical paint by numbers video games.
I have another example that I actually liked, but for another reason, and it's the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. It wasn't a great movie, but it was a palatable movie, and it was like a good like entry to horror movie. But its biggest, so Five Nights at Freddy's, there's lore, but it's not like if you play the game and you just like, you know, you're watching the cameras trying not to get eaten, you're probably not going to pick up too much of it unless you're really looking for the lore. But they like tried to shoehorn a story into the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and that was the worst part of the movie, was the stuff that they created outside. So like the best part of the movie was just seeing the, you know, the animatronics just go crazy. And that was cool, and I loved all those parts, but all the original parts of the game, all the original parts of the movie that they created, a la the story, were the worst parts of it. So, like, that's kind of like, I guess, the opposite of what we've been talking about, where they should have just stuck with exactly the game, because the parts that were exactly the game were the best parts of the movie, and everything that they created that was original sucked.
Is there any games that you guys would want to see adapted?
Mass Effect. Easy.
Okay.
Easy.
And would you want it to just be a story, like, transplant, that they just recreate the story? Or
no.
How would you want it to be done?
I want... Oh, well, so there's already a book about it called First Contact, and it's everything before the Mass Effect game. So it's like humanity's first contact with aliens and like them discovering like the I was going to say fast travel in space. What's that called? Like the light speed, warp jumps, whatever they call it in that game. It's like them discovering
Mass
that
Effect.
and like other sentient beings for the first time. But that's the movie that I want, because I think it was an incredible book. And I think it would be an incredible movie or TV series. Like it could be like a very Star Trek-y series. And I think that would be incredible. I don't want them to do the games, but I want them to do something in the universe, because the universe is sick.
I feel like books, I mean, as we've seen by the crazy amounts of things that have been adapted from books are excellent medium to be adapted. Like The Expanse is probably my favorite TV show, or I really enjoyed Murderbot as well. And those are both adaptations of sci-fi that they did really well. And the changes that they make, I go, I can see why they did that. They needed to show us something that's inside of characters' heads by giving us this other event that doesn't happen in the book. But so that makes sense to me that the book of Mass Effect is what you want turned into a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I could choose, like, I would want like an indie game turned into like a big budget. Like I would love like a Citizen Sleeper trilogy or something like that. Where it's like the first Citizen Sleeper game. Or like even like a Stardew Valley, like 1 season miniseries.
Oh, that would be cute. Like
I think
JoJo
make that into an anime. It'd be sick.
Supermarket story arc, or getting the the freaking, what's it called? The community center or something.
Yep. Yeah, I think I would love to see like indie video games that are kind of as far away from being cinematic as possible, because I think you could introduce like a lot. You'd have a lot more cinematic freedom than I think like when you do AAA stuff, because like a Citizen Sleeper kind of game, like you would just be able to pull from whatever cool. Like, you wouldn't have to stick to the aesthetic of Citizen Sleeper, because as far as for cinematic purposes, that aesthetic doesn't really exist. And so you can kind of start from the ground up, understanding the tone of the piece, but kind of using just all the coolest elements that would support that tone. And so I think, like when I think about, like, I think Florence would make a really cute rom-com. I think seeing 2D things be adapted, like 2D indie experiences, like Vampire Survivors, I think would really, like, you did you ever watch D&D Honor Among Thieves?
I love that movie.
Like, I think Vampire Survivors, like, would, in that tone, would be like perfect. So yeah, I think like my preference would be seeing like indie games made into big blockbusters.
I was thinking of a title, and then I realized they've already actually, I'm pretty sure, made an anime about it. But Danganronpa would make a really good anime, because I think it is actually already. But it's a Japanese game where it's like a visual novel / mystery, and you have to you're like locked in a school with a killer teddy bear, and it's very Japanese. And you have to like talk to the other people that are trapped there with you, and then figure out, who the bad guy is. But I was also thinking with Citizen Sleeper that instead of a live action, that would actually make a really good animated show as well. So, but I think that I think the reason why that would work is partially because of the way that they did the expansion, or not the expansion, but the sequel, that it was a Citizen Sleeper story, not a continuation of the character we played the first time. So that already opens up the freedom to branch out and just use the world. I think Disco Elysium would make an interesting
buddy cop show
film
with Harry and Kim.
Just
with a little
like
side of
worst,
schizophrenia.
You got the worst vibes possible.
I would love that.
You feel like you didn't take a shower after every
You
episode.
watch it and feel terrible. Yeah, I think so. Okay, guys. Go ahead.
There's a lot of, so as you Google it, there's a lot of indie games that have the rights picked up, but no one's done anything with yet. So I think Netflix has Oxenfree. And you can go on the Netflix app and play the games right now, but also part of that was acquiring the rights for an adaptation.
Oh, wow.
Little Nightmares.
That would be interesting.
I think Dead Cells has an animated series that came out. Cuphead, Netflix has. And apparently it's been rumored that Toby Fox is in talks of an Undertale anime.
I was thinking of Undertale. I
that would also
be
good.
That is the way that I would like to engage with Undertale, because I didn't like that game at all.
Me too.
But I want to I want to see the story, but I don't want to play the game. Its little mini games are fucking annoying. Sorry. I know you love it.
Agreed.
I can't love it.
Agreed.
Thank you, Brett. Okay, guys, I am coming up on my hard stop, so I'm
Okay.
gonna call us here. Sorry if it's a little abrupt, listeners. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been Overthinking Games, a game about video games. No, a podcast about what video games can teach us. If you have any thoughts about your favorite or least favorite adaptations or games that you think should be adapted, please send us an email. It's in the show notes, and we will catch you next time. Bye!
Bye.